The handstand is a fun skill, but it can be frustrating. Now, today I want to share 3 things that I think if you were to just focus on these and get them down right, it's going to make your handstand journey so much easier as well as more fun. First thing is the bail. The second thing is the setup. And the third thing is practice the split leg kick up. Now just focus on these 3 things, and as I mentioned earlier, it's going to make the handstand journey much more pleasant. Now, fear is one of the biggest things holding a person back from being able to work on the handstand. This is going to help you to work with that fear and have the confidence to know that you're going to be okay when you're upside down. The way that we're going to work on this is by focusing on the cartwheel. That's our bail. Now, it can be a little confusing into determining like what side cartwheel should I be doing, and you only need to focus on one side. The way that I like to do is start with your feet together and then just take one step forward. Now, the foot that you step forward with is your natural gait, and this means that you'll typically be kicking up, in my case, with my left leg. So this is how you can kind of determine what side you're going to be kicking up for the cartwheel. Now, you might be thinking, hey man, I can't do a cartwheel just yet. No fear, it's all good. And the cool thing is you don't have to have a perfect cartwheel. Nope. All we're after here is making sure that you can safely perform this movement with your arms locked out. And that's a key point here. By keeping your arms straight, you're protecting your head and your neck. So let's say, for example, if you just happen to mess up with the feet, you're still cool because you're not going to hit your head or your neck. You're protecting yourself. And by practicing on what I'm going to show you right now, getting really good at it, well, you're going to be working on overcoming the fear that could possibly hinder you from working on the handstand. So once again, just take that step forward. And we're going to place our hands on the ground. Now from here, let's say though that you don't have the hamstring strength, the flexibility. It's totally cool. Just bend your leg here. I just want you to put both your hands on the floor. Now this is the leg you're going to kick up with. By doing this side is my left side. I'm going to take my left hand and bring it over here. And I'm just going to kick with this foot and try and bring it right over there. I don't care right now how high I can kick. I just want to put my left foot over there. As you saw, it naturally turned me. This is your starting point. This is all you need to work on in the beginning. But Ryan, that doesn't really look like a cartwheel. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Remember, we're focusing on the bail. Then it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not gymnasts. We're just trying to protect ourselves, okay? So once again, I'm doing this, starting here. Hands are on the ground. I bring this left hand forward because my left leg is back. Now I just try and kick a little higher, but rather than kicking up over my head, I'm kicking to the side. This is a key point. So by kicking to the side, I'm also slowly using incremental progressions in order to help me to slowly work up to being able to kick up over my head. But once again, in the beginning, kick to the side. And that's it. From here, we're just going to start working and getting more comfortable with this to the point where you're able to start bringing your legs up a little higher into the air, as well as bringing the hand back. So check this out. This is it. Once you're at the point where you can bring your leg up higher and have that confidence to know that you're keeping your arms locked out, then you can start moving your hand back. We're going to do incrementally. So don't just immediately bring your hand back here. Incremental, a little bit at a time. Arms are locked out. You're pushing away from the floor. You kick this leg in the air and continue to push into the ground. And this is it. There's no magic to this. It's simply getting more comfortable at each stage. Slowly, with confidence, bringing that hand back to the point where both of your hands end up being shoulder width apart. So if we started here, over time, gradually getting to the point where we bring our hands here. Remember, we're kicking to the side. Kicking to the side. And there you go. That's the bail. Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's just helping you to remain safe. That's the big thing. How long is this going to take you to do it? I don't know. We're all different, and it doesn't matter. The most important thing, though, is making sure that you take the time to work on this and get comfortable, bringing awareness, making sure that you're keeping your arms straight, kicking to the side, and just, again, getting comfortable in this position and movement. The second key point is the setup. Now, the cool thing about what I'm showing you here is you don't just have to get the bail perfect before you move on to the setup, and you don't just have to have the setup perfect before you work on the split leg kick-up. The thing is, these all work in conjunction with each other. So, as you're working on the bail, practice that just a little bit. Once you're cool, move on, practice your setup. This is the setup. Now, I'm going to just start off here with hands on the ground. And just look at this position real quick. So, the way that I like to work on the setup is by having my index finger facing forward. I'm going to place my other hand shoulder width apart. If you don't know what shoulder width apart is for you, just look at your shoulders and just try and bring your hand underneath your shoulder. I know that sounds silly, but I see a lot of people thinking that their shoulders are like this wide. You know, maybe they are, but let's try and really focus on what's going on, and this is going to help you to bring better awareness to what is going on. Now, the other thing to take into consideration, though, is you might have some wrist issues. If that is the case, then you can turn the hands slightly out. Just understand that eventually we're trying to work to a point where we can get our fingers facing forward, or at least the index finger. Now, from this position, you're going to immediately push down and through the ground. This is pushing away from the ground. And eventually, once we get upside down, this is going to be scapular elevation. In other words, what we're after is always pushing away from the ground, putting ourselves into this position. The setup is so important because when we're able to feel what's going on before we kick up, it's going to help us to set ourselves up for success. I know it sounds corny, but the thing is remember, when you go upside down, and if this is one of your first times working on the handstand, chances are it's going to be scary. And when you're upside down, typically most people have no idea what's going on with their body. So by focusing on that setup, making sure that you're putting yourself in the proper position from the beginning, it's going to allow you to safely work on the move. And that's what this whole thing is about here. So hands are shoulder width apart, index fingers facing forward. We're pushing down and away from the ground. We're going to add one other thing here before we move on to another position, and that is rotate our elbow pits forward. Now, when you eventually kick up, there will be an internal rotation of the elbows. But why I'm having you do this and turning the elbow pits facing forward, it's going to help you to naturally lock out the arm. A lot of trouble that people have when they actually start to work on the split leg kick up is that they bend their arms. When you bend your arms, you come out of that scapular elevation. It makes it more difficult for you to get back into a straight arm position with that scapular elevation and raising the shoulders. In other words, if we can make a pillar out of our arm, we know that the structure itself is going to be very solid. When we can keep that solid structure, it's going to make it easier for us, both physically and mentally. Okay, so once again, shoulder width apart, index fingers facing forward. We're pushing down or through the floor, elbow pits are forward. Now we can start looking at our head position. And this is where we're going to have to start bringing our butt up into the air by using our runner's kick up here, our runner's start. Now, notice where my shoulders are right now. I actually moved back. This isn't what we want. Remember, shoulders over the hands, pushing down and through the ground. Now I'm going to shift my head so that I'm looking through my eyebrows. Now you might be thinking, man, Ryan, you got some thick ass eyebrows there. How the heck can you look through your eyebrows? I can't, but you know what? Just imagine that you're looking through your eyebrows. The reason for this is that if you get into the habit of doing this and trying to look at the floor when you're in your handstand, it's going to mess up the position. So a cue that I like to say is look through your eyebrows. Sounds silly, but hey, I'm a silly guy. Just want to have fun, all right? So once again, index fingers facing forward, pushing down and through, elbow pits facing forward. We're going to get into our runner start. We're going to shift our shoulders up over our hands, continue to push. Now we're going to pull our chin in slightly so that we're looking kind of through our eyebrows. And this is our setup position. Okay. Important thing here is that you can practice this position without having to kick up into your handstand just yet. That comes here in a second when we do the actual kick up. But remember, it's all about, can you get into a position that's going to allow you to train safely? When you can do that, it's going to help you with that fear factor. And actually, even more importantly, it's going to allow you to actually progress in the handstand. If you're always able to get into the proper setup and keep that position, you're not going to be bending your arms. You're going to have that scapular elevation. Your head is going to be in the proper position. What that's going to do is further strengthen you and allow you to have the control so that the handstand, the actual handstand when you're upside down, will be easier. Now it's time to look at the split leg kick up. To be honest, this is typically where people lose it. And I mean figuratively and literally, okay? Lose it in terms of as soon as they kick, everything that we covered before, the bail and the setup, just kind of goes out the window, all right? It's very unfortunate. It doesn't need to be that way. And the way that I'm going to show you this is actually freestanding without using a wall. You might be thinking, Ryan, oh my goodness, isn't that dangerous? Hear me out. If you train it this way, then it's actually going to help you to bring better spatial awareness as well as control. It's going to also help you to get really, really good at your bail. Okay, now, when working on this, the one thing that I want you to mainly focus on is small kicks. So even though I say split leg kick up, you're actually not even kicking up into the handstand just yet. All you're trying to do is just see what's going on. This is kind of like an assessment. And what you're always doing when you're doing that kick up is focusing on what's going on with my position of my body. Are my shoulders over my hands? What's going on with my head? And am I pushing away from the floor? Check this out. This is really all that's going to happen, okay? You work on your setup here. You're going shoulder width apart, index fingers facing forward. You got elbow rotation. You got push away from the floor. You got this runner start. You rearrange, bringing your shoulders up over your hands. Adjust the head just slightly. You understand that you need to kick here. And as you kick, you push. And all you're going to do is this. And now, look at my shoulders. Oh, I shifted back. So I need to continue to keep my shoulders over my hands, pushing here. I'm going to kick. Oh, okay, there we go. And this is all you're doing. I'm not kicking up into the air, if you will. Well, I mean, I am, but what I mean is I'm not kicking my foot up over my head just yet. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of float time. That's what I'm after. But I'm not immediately bringing the other foot up and trying to match my legs in order to try and drive myself up into a handstand. Slow, gradual. This is what's going to build the strength. This is also what's going to build the flexibility as well as control. So that as you slowly start to kick higher and higher, you know what's going on. You're bringing greater awareness into your body. It starts with this kick up and getting even more comfortable in being upside down. Now remember, you worked on that bail. You worked on that setup. And so you should be comfortable or moving towards more comfort in being able to protect yourself by bailing out just in case stuff happens. So this is what we can do. And I'm going to give an example right now of what happens if you overkick. It's a common thing, okay? And remember, just like I said in the bail, what are we focusing on in that bail? Keeping our arms straight. That's the most important thing that you can do. If anything here in this video you get out of is keep your arms straight. Period, okay? So I got my setup. I already focused through that. Index fingers facing forward. Elbow pits facing forward, pushing down and away from the floor. Runner start. I've got my eyebrow look going on. I'm pushing. I'm going to kick, but this time I overkick. Oh, no. I just do my bail. And purposely said, oh, no, you know. Maybe you don't need to say that because it's not to that extent. But the thing is I didn't bend my arms. And that's it. Okay? So once again, focusing on that kick up, slowly getting to the point where you can bring your legs up. Now, do realize though that this is scary. I'm just trying to give you an option so that you could do this literally anywhere and practice your handstand safely. But if you have a wall, you can use a wall. And this is going to help tremendously. And the way to do this and practice this when you're doing it is first work on your cartwheel bails. Practice that setup a bit. Then you can go to the wall. You can perform a single kick up. Give yourself a break. You know, shake things out. Give yourself a breather. Then try one freestanding. Give yourself a break. Shake things out. Go back to the wall. And you can go back and forth between the wall. Why would you do this? Well, using the wall is going to give you a bit more confidence because you know that the wall is there and it'll catch you just in case. By going and working freestanding, like without the wall, it allows you to build even greater confidence in not only the kick up, but your bail, in knowing that you are safe. And the more opportunities that you have to be upside down, the better it's going to be. How do we get better? We practice, and we practice in volume. Most important thing about that, though, is making sure that the reps that we're doing are high quality repetitions. So, I'm going to finish with this. Whenever you're working on either the cartwheel bail, the setup, or especially the split leg kick up, don't be like the Energizer Bunny and just kick up and kick up and kick up and kick up and kick up. No, we don't want that. One single attempt. Make it as beautiful as possible, focusing on that setup, possibly bailing out of it if you need to. Give yourself a break. Think about what you need to do for the next time. In other words, focus on that setup and kick up and try one again, making it as beautifully as possible. If you can do that, you're going to get better. Quality repetitions done in volume, practice, equates to getting any skill out there. But if you rush it and you don't think about what's going on, you end up having crappy form. And we don't want to train crappy form. Train the best way you can, and by doing that is just simply following what I've shared here in this video with you, just getting on the floor and practicing the movements. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're serious about handstands, we have a full course on handstand coaching program as part of our Alpha Posse membership, where our coaches give personalized feedback and support as you practice. Check the link in the description to join the wait list for next time it opens.